Substituting values is when we replace a letter with a numerical value or a number. So it should be revision for most of you. We're going to do a couple of examples. So starting off really easy, if a equals 3 and b equals 5, calculate the value of a plus b. So there's two steps to these questions. The first step is you replace the letters with the relevant number. So here we're going to replace a with 3 and b with 5. So on the next line, instead of a, I've got 3, and instead of b, I've got 5. Then the second step is to calculate the answer. So 3 plus 5 is 8. Now what if we wanted to calculate 9a? Now we know that 9a means 9 times a. So on the next line, instead of writing 9 times a, we are going to replace the a with the relevant number, which is 3. So we are going to write 9 times 3, which is 27. Now for some of them, when you're calculating the answer, you need to remember to do BODMAS. So let's do this example. If p equals 8 and q equals 2, calculate the value of 3p plus 10q. We know that this means 3 times p plus 10 times q. So on the next line, we're going to substitute in the relevant values. So instead of p, we're going to put 8, and instead of q, we're going to replace it with 2. So 3 times 8 plus 10 times 2. And we need to use BODMAS, so make sure we're doing it in the correct order. So we're going to do the multiplication first. And then once we've done that, we can add them together. So the answer to this one is 44. I'm going to do one more example, and this is just for the people who are going to be doing the harder questions. So this time we've got if a equals 3, b equals -2, and c equals 1, calculate the value of 2a squared plus b squared all over 11c. So even though it's a hard question, the steps are exactly the same. We are going to replace the letters with the relevant numbers, and we know that 2a squared actually means 2 times a squared. So on the next line, we're going to put in the numbers. So we've got 2 times 3 squared instead of 2 times a squared, and we've got plus -2 squared instead of b squared, and it's all over 11c. We know 11c means 11 times c, so we are going to replace the c with 1 and have 11 times 1 on the bottom of this fraction. Now, using BODMAS, the first thing that we're going to have to do is calculate these squared values. So we're going to need to calculate what 3 squared is, and we're going to need to calculate what -2 squared is. 3 squared is the same as 3 times 3, so the answer is 9. -2 squared is the same as -2 times -2, so we've got a negative multiplied by a negative, so the answer will be +4. So we'll have 2 times 9, now I've highlighted what's happened, plus 4 all over 11, because 11 times 1 is just 11. Now, still doing BODMAS, the next thing we need to do is this multiplication here. So 2 times 9 ends up being 18. And then we can add the numbers together. So you end up with 22 over 11. Now you could leave the answer as a fraction, or if you can simplify it, you can simplify it. 22 over 11 is the same as 22 divided by 11, which is just 2. But you could leave it as a fraction if you want to.